Hi you guys, it's Ash, and in this video I'm going to be dismantling the top 3 reasons that I keep hearing of why people don't want to solo travel. They hear about solo travel, they come up with all of these excuses as to why it won't work, why they shouldn't do it, and why they just can't be a part of it. And I'm here today to get rid of those irrational fears that people have come up with, and I'm here to tell you some ways around those fears. Okay, so I have my notes right here. So at the top of the list that I keep hearing about when I bring up solo travel, because I have traveled alone to about 3 different countries. I've gone by myself for minimum 5 days, and I had an amazing time. So the top reason that I keep hearing is loneliness, okay? Loneliness and boredom are at the top of people's fears because of the fact that they're just like, okay, if I go to this place, who am I gonna talk to? I'm gonna be in a foreign place that I have no idea how to navigate. Is it gonna be safe? Are there gonna be things to do? Am I just gonna stay in my hotel room the whole time? Who am I gonna have fun with? Who am I gonna bond with and create these memories with at this amazing place that I'm in? Okay, take a deep breath. So, a lot of times when you travel solo, I would encourage you to go to the same type of places that you go to in your own city. For example, if you like to go to bars and you like to be social at bars, when you do your research on the place, look up some bars, okay? And when you go to those bars, you can be intentional about socializing and be intentional about making friends and creating conversations with people when you're there. Obviously, you'll use your discernment. You're not just gonna be chatting up any and everybody, right? Because you don't do that in your own city. So you would kind of keep that same kind of course of action when you're out of town. So let's see. Also, I like to say, one thing that I always like to say is that only boring people get bored. And I just really believe that, because I'm just like, if you're somebody who's fun and you're very intentional about having fun and getting out there and socializing, then you're just gonna do it. Now, when it's in another country or in a place that you're very unfamiliar with, doing the proper research beforehand, like looking up different places and social activities, maybe there's functions that are going on, maybe there's festivals that are going on, maybe there are clubs if you're into that, maybe there's lounges, maybe there's different restaurants have different events that they have. If you do your proper research, maybe go on Instagram and look up different places that you see that may be of interest to you, and then look at the different promoted nights for the restaurants, lounges, and different things in the city. Then you'll have an idea of the things that you can involve yourself in. And if you're more of an introverted person, then this part of the conversation isn't for you anyway, because you kind of enjoy alone time anyway. So, if you're on some introvert stuff and you just really appreciate alone time, then solo travel is definitely for you, because you don't have to be intentional about socializing with people at all. You can just do your thing and engage in your itinerary alone and have a good time. Also, let's see. You're also going to make sure that you go to safe places. And this is a part of your safety, because a lot of times people think, okay, if there's no one with me, how am I going to make sure that there's somebody there that is kind of making sure that, I can check in with them and they can check in with me. Like, a lot of people want to have somebody that they can do that with, like a buddy system type thing, like a check-in system. Because sometimes even when people travel together, somebody wants to go to a cafe, another person wants to go to a museum, and they're just like, okay, cool, you go do that. When you're done, or maybe in an hour and a half, just send a text letting me know that you're okay, like a buddy system. That's all well and good, but when you're doing solo travel, unless you met a friend on the trip and you made a new friend and you guys are doing different activities together, 9 times out of 10 you'll be alone. So you just want to do your proper research, look into all of the itinerary that you create, make sure you look at the ratings for them. Make sure you do things that are in certain parts of town that are safer than not, you know? And a lot of times, this is gonna lead me to my next point, which is safety, which is people's like second biggest fear, I think, when it comes to solo travel. The first thing that I hear is, have you seen the movie Taken? Oh my gosh, I don't wanna be, you know, X-trafficked like the girls in that video. And it's just like, okay, let's just consider the fact that most of us live in a big city. A lot of us live in a big city with hundreds of thousands or millions of people. And let's just be very clear. The crime rate of big cities is very high. When you look at violent crimes and things of that nature, and then sometimes when you compare the violent crimes to the place that you're interested in traveling, it's like night and day. It's way worse where you live. So the chances of something happening to you where you actually live are much, much higher and far greater than where you're thinking about going. And so a lot of times when people are afraid to do something, human beings are very good at coming up with excuses as to why it won't work, as opposed to reasons of why it will work, okay? So just understanding the fact that when you travel, you're gonna use common sense because you have it and you have discernment and you have your intuition. And so those things alone are going to guide you very far, not only with your solo travel, but in life in general, okay? There's that little voice inside of you, and when it speaks to you and it tells you like, I don't know about this place, or I don't feel at peace with this decision, or I was thinking about staying here, this doesn't quite feel right, let me modify my plans, you know? Go with it and follow your gut instinct. And I say that because that will keep you from being in mess, okay? So that's the second part. Like safety is like the second bullet point. You know, and you just do your research. You know, also I suggest when traveling, you always want to have a plan B, right? So if you book an Airbnb or you book a hotel somewhere that you've thoroughly researched and you looked at the reviews and everything, you're just like, okay, I feel really good about this decision. Or you've talked to people who have either visited there, or you talk to people who live there or have lived there before, and you kind of get a general idea of what are the good places and where they're not so good places to go and the places that you need to stay away from. You come up with an itinerary, and then you can come up with like backup plans. Like, okay, if you're staying in an Airbnb, you pick another Airbnb that's available for those same dates, and you can kind of just be like, okay, let me look at a couple of these, and these are going to be available in case I need to hurry up and switch. You know, okay, I'm staying at this hotel, but what's the next best hotel that I would like to stay in? Let me go ahead and just keep that in mind. I'll put that on my list as a possibility in case anything goes wrong here, right? Okay, I'm going out on Friday night. I'm going to, you know, the Smith Bar, and I'm going to Roly Poly, okay? You want to go to those places? Just in case those places don't work out, then you have two other places that are listed that you have as options, right? Because then you can kind of keep the momentum up without having to kind of like stop and say, okay, what's going on? Now I have to do research and everything, because you've already done double research and you have plans, even when it comes to, you know, restaurants, if it comes to like a museum that you want to go to, if it comes to a park that you want to go to. Always just have like a backup plan so that you don't have to deviate too far from your itinerary, and you don't have to deviate too far from your current plans because you already have a backup. So the next and final thing that is on the list that I hear a lot of people talking about when it comes to solo travel is affordability. They always say, shoot, I can't afford to go on a trip by myself. I have to go on a group trip, or I have to do a trip where, you know, we can split the cost of this and the cost of that. You know, it's cheaper to do this because when it's a certain amount of people, then you get a certain discount rate and all these benefits that come with traveling with another person or with a group. I always say that, you know how they talk about guys and they say, baby, if he wanted to, then he would. I feel that same way about people in general with a lot of things. If you want to, you will, okay? It's all about what you prioritize. If you prioritize this trip and you say, hey, I want to go to fill in the blank, Accra, right? If you want to go to Ghana, make your mind up to go to Ghana, make a list of things that are going to be needed to be in place. You know, like maybe you have to get a visa, maybe you have to set aside, you know, you need accommodations, you need your flight, and you're going to need whatever else you need, right? Maybe you need to get immunizations, maybe you need to get your malaria pills and everything else associated with the trip, right? So you make a list, and then you do your research, and then you put the prices next to it, and then you look at your income and look at the things that you prioritize and say, hey, I can switch around this, and I can take money out of this area, and I can just save bit by bit. I don't care if it's $25 a month, okay? You can make a trip happen. There are ways to do a budget trip, which is like, you know, not as expensive. And then there's like a mid-range trip. And then there's like a luxury trip. Like, you don't have to do, and then there's backpacking, like straight up staying on people's couches, doing couchsurfing.com, where you literally don't pay for accommodations. People just open up their homes to you, and you know, you create your account, you create a profile, you look at the host profiles in different cities and different countries and things like that. And you know, some hosts will be more than happy to take you around and show you their entire city, because that's just what they love to do, and they're just that hospitable. So bless those people, because they are amazing. But you know, where there's a will, there's a way. And even if it takes you a long time to save up, I say travel is one of the best investments, because you can't recreate those types of memories like anywhere else. Like, that whole experience is going to be very special and something that you remember for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And so you can't take the money with you, baby. You can't take the money with you in the end. So getting out there, you know, if you have some things that are on your bucket list, if you have some things that are just places that you've just been wanting to go that you just think are so dope, you know, look at your budgets and save accordingly, and you can do it. You know, and that's just pretty much it. I hope that you find this video helpful. I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I'm gonna be doing some more solo travel videos, so make sure you stay tuned for that. If you have any questions or any experiences that you had while doing solo travel, I would love to address those in an upcoming video. So let me know, and I will see you guys later. Bye.